right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and maybe a little misunderstood features in Java, annotations. Seriously, think of these as your secret weapon. They're a way for you to talk directly to the compiler and prevent some of the absolute worst kinds of bugs. But to really appreciate a hero, you first have to meet the villain of our story. So to really get why annotations are so important, we need to understand the enemy. And in the world of coding, the scariest villain isn't the one that makes a lot of noise. No, it's the bug that hides in plain sight, the one that never crashes your program but silently messes everything up behind the scenes. So let me ask you, what do you think is the most dangerous kind of bug you could ever write? It's not the one that gives you a big, obvious error message. Not even close. The most dangerous bug, by far, is the one that lets your program compile just fine, run without a hitch, all while producing the completely wrong result. It's this quiet little saboteur that can go unnoticed for days, weeks, maybe even longer, just corrupting data without a peep. The official name for this is a logical bug. Basically, the computer is perfectly happy. The syntax is right, but the logic, the gap between what you intended to happen and what actually happened, is way off. These are the kinds of bugs that keep developers up at night. Let's make this real. I'm going to show you a classic example of how easily one of these logical bugs can sneak into your code through a simple case of mistaken identity. Okay, so first up, we've got a really simple parent class. We'll call it class A. It's got one method in it, nothing fancy, just a plain old superclass that's going to be the base for our example. And now, here's its child, class B. Now our intention, our whole plan here, is for class B to create its own special version of the method from class A. Standard stuff, it's called method overriding. But take a closer look. Really look. Can you see it? It's super subtle. In class A, the method is named belongs with an S, but in class B, it's belong, no S. Just a single letter typo. A tiny, frustrating mistake that's about to cause a really big problem. And here is the scariest part. The code compiles perfectly. No errors, no warnings, nothing. So, let's run it. Thinking about our goal to override the method, what do you expect the output to be? And there it is. We were totally expecting to see the message from class B, but instead, we got the one from class A. Our override just silently failed. That little typo meant we didn't override the method at all. We accidentally created a brand new, completely separate one. This is a perfect and perfectly frustrating example of a logical bug in the wild. So, how do we fight back? How can we make our intentions so crystal clear that a simple typo can't cause this kind of hidden mess? Well, it turns out we can leave a note for the compiler. And that's exactly what an annotation is. It's metadata. The best way to think about it is like a digital sticky note that you stick onto your code. It doesn't actually change what your code does, but it gives the Java compiler critical extra information, turning it into your partner in crime fighting. For our specific problem, the hero of the story is the @override annotation. Its entire job is to be that sticky note. It tells the compiler, hey, listen up. This method right here, my intention is to override a method from my parent. Please double check that I actually did it right. So let's go back to our buggy class B code. We're going to do one tiny thing differently this time. We're going to add that one simple line @override right above our method. Okay, now let's see what happens when we try to compile it. And boom, magic. We don't even get to run the code. Instead, we get a big, beautiful, and incredibly helpful compile time error. The compiler, because it read our sticky note, checked our work, and immediately told us, hey, you messed up. This method doesn't override anything. The silent bug has been found and is now screaming at us to fix it. You see the power in this, right? It's a simple 3-step process. First, you declare exactly what you're trying to do with an annotation. Second, the compiler acts like your personal assistant and verifies that you did it correctly. And third, what used to be a silent, sneaky, logical bug gets turned into a loud, obvious error that you can fix in seconds. It's brilliant. But this is just scratching the surface. Annotations aren't just for fixing typos. They are a huge, powerful part of the entire Java world, and there's a whole universe of them out there. Yeah, @override is just the tip of the iceberg. Java has a ton of built-in annotations, and you can even create your own. People use them for everything, from telling the compiler to ignore certain warnings, to marking code as old and outdated, all the way to powering massive software frameworks. Just take a look at a few of these others. We've got @deprecated, which is like putting a do not use sign on old code. Then there's @suppress warnings, which is basically your way of telling the compiler, look, I know you think this is a bad idea, but trust me, I know what I'm doing here. Each annotation is just a different kind of conversation you can have with the compiler. And this right here, this is why this stuff is so critical for your career. If you want to work with modern Java, you're going to use frameworks like Spring and Hibernate. And guess what they run on? Annotations. Instead of writing tons of boring configuration files, you just use a simple annotation like @autowired in Spring, and poof, the framework does all the heavy lifting for you. In today's Java world, understanding annotations isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential. Okay, so let's bring this all home. After all that, what are the key things you really need to remember from our little journey into the world of Java annotations? Here are the big takeaways. 1. Annotations are metadata. They're just sticky notes for your compiler. 2. They turn those silent, dangerous logical bugs into loud, helpful compile time errors. 3. Using @override whenever you're overriding a method isn't just a good idea, it's a must-do. And finally, remember that annotations are the absolute bedrock of modern professional Java development. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Annotations aren't just a language feature. They're really a mindset. It's about a commitment to writing code that is intentional, that documents itself, and that is just plain safer. So the next time you're writing some code, ask yourself, how can I use an annotation here to make this not just work, but work brilliantly?